New Beginnings. Cities and States. Chapter 4 of Class 7 Social Science book. This video contains all possible questions, with exam-ready answers from this chapter. Let us start. Question. What is Janapadas? Answer. Janapadas were the earliest territorial and political units in ancient India during the Vedic period. The term, Janapada, derives from Sanskrit words, jana, people or tribe, and pada, foot or foothold, meaning the land where a tribe settled and established roots. Question. What is the time period of the Vedas? Answer. The time period of the Vedas is generally placed between 1500 BCE and 500 BCE. Question. What is Mahajanapada? Answer. Mahajanapadas were the 16 large and powerful kingdoms or republics that existed in ancient India around 600 BCE. Question. What is India's second urbanization? Answer. India's second urbanization refers to the revival and growth of cities in northern India around the 6th century BCE, after a long gap following the decline of the Indus Valley civilization. Question. Why were Janapadas turned into Mahajanapadas? Answer. The small kingdoms called Janapadas gradually turned into larger states known as Mahajanapadas because of several political and economic changes around 600 BCE. Like 1. Increase in population. 2. Agricultural development. 3. Growth of trade. 4. Wars and conquests. 5. Better administration and military. Question. How did the Janapadas turn into Mahajanapadas? Answer. The Janapadas turned into Mahajanapadas gradually through a combination of economic growth, territorial expansion, and political centralization in the 6th century BCE. Question. What was the extension of 16 Mahajanapadas? Answer. They were extended from Gandhara in Cambodia in the northwest, to Anga in the east, and to Ashmaka in the central India. Question. How did we know about the second urbanization of India? Answer. We know about the second urbanization of India from archaeological evidence and literary sources, like Vedic, Buddhist, Jain texts and accounts of foreign travelers. Question. Why were the Mahajanapadas concentrated in the Ganga plains? Answer. The Mahajanapadas were concentrated in the plains of the Ganga river, because of 1. Fertile soil. 2. Availability of water. 3. Easy transport and trade. 4. Favorable climate. 5. Availability of iron ore. Question. What were the names of the 16 Mahajanapadas? Answer. Anga, Magadha, Kashi, Koshala, Vijji, Malla, Chedi, Vatsa, Kuru, Panchala, Matsya, Surasena, Asaka, Avanti, Gandhara, Kamboja. Question. Which were the most powerful Mahajanapadas? Answer. Magadha, Koshala, Vatsa, Avanti were the most powerful Mahajanapadas. Question. How were the capitals of the Mahajanapadas made secured? Answer. The capital cities of the Mahajanapadas made secured by 1. High fort walls. 2. Gates and watchtowers. 3. Moats. 4. Strong guards and soldiers. Question. What was the Sabha in the Janapadas? Answer. The Sabha was an important council or assembly in Janapadas, where leaders met to discuss and make decisions about the state. Question. What were the main features of Sabha? Answer. 1. Assembly of leaders. The Sabha consisted of elders, chiefs, nobles, or important members of the Janapada. 2. Decision-making body. They discussed and decided on matters such as administration of the state, war and peace, laws and rules. 3. Advising the ruler. In monarchies, the Sabha advised the king on important matters. 4. Role in republics. In republican states like Malla, the Sabha had greater power, and many chiefs took decisions together instead of a single king. Question. What was the Raja in Mahajanapadas? Answer. The Raja was the king and chief ruler who controlled administration, army, and governance of the Mahajanapada. Question. How were the kings of the Mahajanapadas selected? Answer. In most monarchies Mahajanapadas, the king was chosen by hereditary rule. The son of the king usually became the next king after his father. In some non-monarchies mahajanapadas, called ganas or sanghas, the ruler or chief was chosen by an assembly of elders or chiefs. Question. What were the early republics? Answer. Early republics were those mahajanapadas, which were governed by assemblies of leaders, instead of a single king, showing an early form of democratic tradition in ancient India. Example, Malla, Vriji etc. Question. What is Rajasuya? Answer. Rajasuya was a Vedic royal ceremony, performed by ancient Indian kings to show their power and authority, during the time of the Mahajanapada period. Question. What were the new innovations during the Mahajanapada time? Answer. Important innovations during the Mahajanapada period were iron tools, better agriculture, use of coins, growth of cities, and expansion of trade and crafts. Question. How was iron metallurgy involved in second urbanization of India? Answer. Iron metallurgy helped the second urbanization of India by making farming more productive. Iron axes and plows cleared forests and increased crop yields, which created surplus food and supported big towns and states like the Mahajanapadas in the Ganga plains. Besides, iron tools also improved craftwork, construction, and weapons, helping cities grow and kingdoms become stronger. Question. Which metal was used for making first coin in India? Answer. Silver. Question. What is punch-marked coin? Answer. A punch-marked coin is one of the earliest types of coins, used in ancient India during the time of the Mahajanapada period. They were mainly made of silver. Some other metals like gold and copper were also used for making them. Question. What was the importance of coins in Mahajanapadas? Answer. Coins were important because they made trade easier, promoted markets and long-distance trade, and helped the economic growth of the Mahajanapadas. Question. Why was iron preferred in making weapons over bronze? Answer. Iron was preferred over bronze for making weapons, during the Mahajanapada period, because it was stronger, sharper, more durable, and more easily available for making weapons. Question. What was the varna jati system in Mahajanapadas? Answer. The varna jati system during the Mahajanapada period divided society into four main varnas and many jatis, based on birth and occupation. Question. What was the varna system in Mahajanapadas? Answer. The varna system divided society into four main groups based on occupation. The groups were 1. Brahmins. They were engaged in preserving and spreading knowledge, and in performance of rituals. 2. Kshatriyas. They were kings, warriors, and rulers who protected the kingdom and governed the state. 3. Vaishyas. They were engaged in increasing the wealth of society, through trade, business and agriculture. 4. Shudras. They were the workers and servants, who served the other three varnas. Question. What was the jati system in Mahajanapadas? Answer. The jati system divided the society into groups or subcastes, based on birth. Each jati was usually linked to a specific occupation, such as potters, carpenters, weavers, etc. People generally married within their own jati. Question. Why should a complex society divide itself into different groups? Answer. A complex society divides itself into groups to organize work, improve skills, and ensure the smooth functioning and development of society. Question. What do you mean by caste? Answer. Caste is a birth-based social group that determines a person's occupation, social status, and marriage group in society. Question. What was the negative impact of the varna jati system in society? Answer. The varna jati system led to inequality, discrimination, and social division in society. Question. What was the social inequality caused by the varna jati system? Answer. The system divided people into rigid groups based on birth. This created inequality where some groups, like Brahmins and Kshatriyas, had more privileges, while others had fewer rights. Question. What was the Uttarapat? Answer. The Uttarapat was a major northern trade route that connected the northwest region to the Ganga plains and helped trade and cultural growth in ancient India. Question. What was the Dakshinapat? Answer. The Dakshinapat was a major southern trade route that helped connect northern and southern India and promoted trade and cultural exchange. Question. Name some kingdoms in southern India in the time of Mahajanapada period. Answer. Important southern kingdoms during the Mahajanapada period were Asmaka, Chola, Chera, and Pandya. Question. When did the Mahajanapadas cease to exist? Answer. The Mahajanapadas ceased to exist when Magadha became dominant and the Mauryan Empire was formed in the 4th century BCE. Question. What was the meaning of the word Mahajanapada? Answer. The word Mahajanapada comes from two Sanskrit words. Maha, great, and Janapada, territorial state. It means a large and powerful kingdom or republic in ancient India. Question. Which Mahajanapada later became the most powerful? Answer. Magadha later became the most powerful Mahajanapada, and eventually formed the base of the Mauryan Empire. Question. What were the important capitals of some Mahajanapadas? Answer. Some important capitals were Rajagriha, capital of Magadha; Varanasi, capital of Kashi; Shravasti, capital of Koshala; Ujjaini, capital of Avanti. Question. Why was Magadha very powerful? Answer. Magadha became powerful because of fertile land of the Ganga plains, availability of iron ore, strong rulers, good trade routes, large army. Question. What were Ganas or Sanghas? Answer. Ganas or Sanghas were republican states, where power was held by a group of chiefs or elders, instead of a single king. Question. What was the role of trade routes in the Mahajanapada period? Answer. Trade routes helped in movement of goods and people, growth of cities, cultural exchange between different regions. Two important routes were Uttarapat and Dakshinapat. Question. What were fortified cities? Answer. Fortified cities were cities protected by strong walls, gates, towers, and moats to defend against enemy attacks. Question. Why did cities grow during the Mahajanapada period? Answer. Cities grew because of agricultural surplus, growth of trade and markets, development of crafts and industries, use of coins. Question. What were guilds? Answer. Guilds were associations of craftsmen or traders who worked together to regulate trade, maintain quality, and protect their interests. Question. What was the importance of agriculture in the Mahajanapada period? Answer. Agriculture was the main occupation of people and it provided food surplus, which supported the growth of towns, trade, and powerful states. Question. Why were forests cleared during this period? Answer. Forests were cleared to expand agricultural land, build settlements, support growing population. Question. What was taxation in the Mahajanapada period? Answer. Taxes were payments made by people to the king, in the form of grain, animals, or money, to support administration and the army. Question. What were fortified capitals? Answer. Fortified capitals were important cities protected by strong walls, gates, watchtowers, and moats to defend the kingdom from enemies. Question. What role did rivers play in the rise of Mahajanapadas? Answer. Rivers provided water for agriculture, fertile soil, and easy transport, which helped cities and kingdoms grow. Question. What were the main occupations of people during the Mahajanapada period? Answer. The main occupations were agriculture, trade, craft work, animal husbandry, and warfare. Question. What is meant by surplus production? Answer. Surplus production means producing more food than what people need for their own consumption, which can be stored or traded. Question. Why did trade increase during the Mahajanapada period? Answer. Trade increased because of better agriculture, development of roads, use of coins, and growing cities. Question. What role did merchants play in ancient cities? Answer. Merchants helped in buying and selling goods, connecting different regions through trade, and increasing economic prosperity. Question. What were craftsmen? Answer. Craftsmen were skilled workers who made items such as pottery, tools, jewelry, textiles, and weapons. Question. What kinds of goods were traded during this period? Answer. Goods traded included cloth, salt, metals, grains, pottery, spices, and precious stones. Question. What were market towns? Answer. Market towns were places where traders and merchants gathered to buy and sell goods regularly. Question. Why did rulers build strong armies in mahajanapadas? Answer. Rulers built strong armies to protect their kingdom, expand their territory, and maintain control over their people. Question. What was the importance of elephants in ancient warfare? Answer. Elephants were important in warfare because they were strong, could break enemy formations, and carried soldiers during battles. Question. What was the role of ministers in mahajanapadas? Answer. Ministers helped the king in administration, decision making, and governance of the kingdom. Question. What role did farmers play in the economy of mahajanapadas? Answer. Farmers produced food grains, which supported the population, trade, and the functioning of the state. Question. What were settlements? Answer. Settlements were places where people lived permanently and built villages or towns. Question. Why were roads important in ancient India? Answer. Roads were important because they helped in trade, travel, communication, and cultural exchange between regions. Please subscribe to the channel if you think this video is helpful and don't forget to share the video with your friends. Thanks for watching.